Hello ladies and gentlemen of the Formula 1 world, and welcome to another F1 2020 My Team Career Mode Series episode, where today we are going to be racing around the Baku circuit city. Fucking hell. Hello and welcome back to another F1 2020 My Team Career episode. Today we are at Azerbaijan for the Baku city circuit, so a circuit which I do believe we shouldn't be too bad at, as we have got a Mercedes power unit in the back of our Quantum Mercedes car, and we've got some resource points, we've got some money to spend, so let's go see what we can do. We're going to go into the R&D tree first and fix up this upgrade part, which won't actually leave us with a lot, but I think after the first practice sessions we should be alright to get ourselves a couple of bits and pieces. We have done the driver part of this, so we've got level 1 on all driver perks, so we are essentially focused on facilities and marketing, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to slightly increase positive effects from team activities, because if you've seen already, they can increase by up to about 10-15%. And the minor ones are usually about 2.5%. So if we can get those to be increased, I think that will be a very, very big dub, and it should hopefully change the performance of our car for the better. I think that might be a reasonable investment, unless we perhaps upgrade the build time of chassis upgrades, because obviously we've got major ones coming. Yeah, we are going to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to purchase the build time upgrade on the chassis, and hopefully that will be here for next Grand Prix weekend. I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't. 9th of June. Yeah, so it will be here in time for the next Grand Prix, which is good enough for me. But anyway, I will see you guys on the other side of practice. We will be level acclaim, level 10 at some point during this episode. So that means that we are going to have to get ourselves some more sponsors. Can't find the sponsor thing. Where's the sponsor thing? There we go, there's the sponsor thing. I couldn't see it for some reason. But yeah, we'll be able to open up our third sponsor, which would be absolutely brilliant. We've already got Cassandra DVS Optics and TriStar. I think next season we're going to be earning a lot more money than this. I mean, our total weekly income already is 804,000, which is not too shabby at all, but we've got room to improve. Right, I'm going to go into practice now. If there are any interviews beforehand, I will obviously show them to you, but otherwise I will see you guys towards the end of qualifying. See you there. Oh, and we get to redo our gearbox. That's always good. Right, we've got a new gearbox as well for the Baku Grand Prix. Brilliant stuff. That's what we like to see. Guys, so that's practice done. We've got ourselves 1,062 resource points. We're not quite level 10 yet, but Mick Schumacher's almost up to level 6, so that's always good. A good thing to see. But we're going to go ahead into qualifying now. I'm going to quickly invest the resource points, possibly into a major chassis upgrade if it's available. I hope it is. If not, then probably an engine upgrade, because I do think we're going to need one. Actually, yeah, I think I'm going to go for the engine upgrade, because the chassis development part for the facility upgrade will be here next race, so we will have plenty of opportunity for it then. We can't do it yet. Can't do that either. And we can't do these either. Well, that's a complete and utter waste of time. Why is that unavailable? Oh, it's because this one hasn't been completed yet. Small brain from myself. Well, I mean, we might as well get something done, right? No, we'll wait. We crossed the line. It's P3. Okay, not a bad lap. Not a bad lap at all. We've qualified P3. It felt like a very, very, very nice lap, I will admit. The Mercedes obviously are miles and miles ahead. But this car is feeling nice. The car is feeling very, very nice. I think it's particularly good in the middle sector. I went purple in the middle sector because I'll show you guys in the race director real quick. If you look at Valtteri middle sector, 40.2, ours is a 40 flat. And we've got a 34.8, 35 flat, so we're actually slower in the first sector. And then a 23.9 was what he got, and we got a 24 flat. So you can see they're faster in the first and the last sector, but this car is just magical in that middle sector. I have no idea how it's doing it, but anyway, yeah, we've qualified P3. I think Mick Schumacher, he's possibly P18, P17. He didn't have the best of qualifying, unsurprisingly. But yeah, this is going to be the grid. Hopefully, I believe the Azerbaijan Grand Prix is going to be a decent one, and thankfully it's not raining, which is obviously very, very good news. But anyway, I'll see you guys on the other side. So then, we beat Alexander Albon. We go a little bit further up there, almost level 9 in driver acclaim. Mick Schumacher's almost level 6, but we are level 10 combined acclaim boost at the Mercedes Quantum Mercedes F1 team, which means that we are able to get ourselves a third secondary sponsor. I'm very, very excited about that, because that means we're going to be getting ourselves more money, and everyone likes more money. I don't think anyone's ever complained about having too much money, so I'm very, very happy about that.
Good afternoon and welcome to Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. So let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The Baku city circuit measures roughly 6 kilometers and is made up of 20 corners and 2 DRS zones. The circuit winds around the narrow city, through the old town, and even brushes against the city's medieval walls. However, as beautiful as the setting is, this track is also a ferocious technical challenge, where the smallest of mistakes could lead to catastrophic consequences for all of our drivers. And what would any Grand Prix weekend be without the one and only Anthony Davidson, alongside me as always, to talk you through this.
What a great race we have in store for us today. Valtteri looks supremely confident this weekend, and that's why he's starting from pole. Can anyone get close to him today, I wonder? And let's see who's able to keep their tyres in that temperature sweet spot early on. You've got a great tyre warmer underneath your right foot, and the drivers need to make the most of that on the formation lap, lest they see themselves skating wide at turn 1 on cold rubber.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have the Rainmaster, Perez, Charles Leclerc and Verstappen, Vettel, Stroll, Ricciardo and Lando Norris, Gasly, Sainz, Esteban Ocon and Albon, Grosjean, Magnussen, Daniel Kvyat and Mick Schumacher, Giovinazzi, Latifi, Raikkonen and George Russell ends our grid lineup. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
So then, here we are in P3, ready for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We've got ourselves a decent amount of fuel here. If we look at the strategy, it looks like we're going to be pitting on lap 4 out of 13. I don't really want to come in any earlier than that, to be fair. I did want to be on an alternate strategy. Because I don't think we're going to be able to beat these Mercs, and I think we're going to be very much challenged from the cars behind. we'll just have to make do. We're starting in P3. It's a good position. We're starting in a podium position, which is what we like to see. Who have we got behind us? We've got Perez. Leclerc is actually right behind us. And we've got Vettel behind him, Verstappen in the mix as well. This could be a very interesting first couple of turns, I must admit. Don't be surprised if we see a safety car. Right, I'm going to go to 5 red lights. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we are then for 5 red lights. It's Valtteri Bottas on pole. Number 77, the Mercedes, lights out and away we go. It's a very, very strong start from us. Bottas gets away pretty slowly, but it looks like he gets a pretty decent getaway in the end. Hamilton goes defensive on the inside, but we actually loop it around the outside. I don't think he was quite expecting us to take that risk there. And we've actually made up the place on Lewis Hamilton in the first corner. Thankfully, though, he hasn't really managed to get much traction off of the back of that corner, so he's still 5/10 behind. Let's see what we can do to catch Valtteri Bottas and hopefully not concede the position to Lewis Hamilton. Moving on to lap 4 now, and not really a lot is going on in this race. We're keeping the gap to Hamilton to about 5/10 throughout the lap, even down the straights. Obviously we are carrying the Mercedes power unit. Not many cars seem to be coming in. It was my only worry. As you can see, that whole gaggle of cars going straight past the pit lane. And we're now going to go into the pits ourselves. I do see a front wing there. I'm not entirely sure what's happened. We don't actually have any damage, or not that I knew of. So that's very, very frustrating. It's an 8.2 second stop. That does mean that we will probably come out behind Perez, and we're already out behind Hamilton. It's all gone wrong. It's all gone wrong. But it's okay. We're still within touching distance. Now moving on to the end of lap 5 now. We're catching a little bit to Lewis Hamilton, who does seem to be stuck in traffic. All of the pit stops have now been made. Perez comes out just ahead of us. As I said before, he was probably always going to jump us in the pits because we had to change our front wing. Let's see what we can do to catch him in the racing point. We're catching up to him pretty darn quick. We're going to be very cautious coming into this corner here, not to make any mistakes or any lockups to go into the back of him. We don't want to get any damage after what just happened. He makes a bit of a wobble there coming out the corner. He's on hard tyres. I've only just realised we're going to stick around the outside of the corner and take the inside line just here, and we get a better traction off of the corner. And that, I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, was actually a very, very tasty move on the Mexican, who has just found himself a place in the Red Bull alongside Max Verstappen. I can't wait to see what he does there. But right now we're in the race, and we're starting to catch Lewis Hamilton, who's stuck behind a huge number of cars. A lot of traffic going on here. All the cars that are on mediums who haven't made their stops yet. So the likes of Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, the Haas cars and the Williams cars. We do attempt a dive bomb down the inside of Lewis Hamilton, but I don't think it was ever going to come off, especially inside this castle section where there is no room for overtaking, let's be honest. We're going to stick the power down as much as we can, try and keep on the end of this train, and then hopefully they slow Lewis Hamilton down enough so that we can maybe even make a cheeky dive bomb, or even maybe they slow him down in the straight, and we can just glide straight past the Brit. It's very annoying being stuck behind these kind of cars, because you have to use up a lot of ERS to stay close to them because of the DRS train essentially. Everyone's getting slipstream off of everyone, and it's impossible to keep up with these guys as Lewis Hamilton flies away. Raikkonen, I think that is, peels into the pits, and he's gonna make the move on Giovinazzi as Lewis Hamilton, while we can only sit and watch. Although Giovinazzi does make it hard for the 7-time world champion, but he does get past in the end, and now it's our turn to try and catch up. We get a decent exit there. We're going to stick in the DRS, but he has got a Ferrari power unit in the back of that Alfa Romeo, which is very, very, very handy in a straight line. Quicker than our Mercedes power unit at the moment, as we don't have many upgrades to the car. I think in the R&D tree, the Alfa Romeo is actually ahead of us in the power unit department. But anyway, that is actually all the action there was in this race. Perez got overtaken by Ricciardo at some point. Well guys, there we have it. That's the end of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Looks like we've got ourselves another P3 finish. We were nowhere near quick enough for the Mercedes, but that driver behind us, Daniel Ricciardo, who also gets driver of the day, was looking quite menacing. But I think between him and Perez, they put up a decent fight. But we were pretty much stuck in the middle. Pretty well felt like a Red Bull car, to be honest, just stuck in that sort of second in the constructors kind of performance type. But obviously the Red Bulls were never going to be anywhere near close to us because they haven't got the best engines in the Honda engine. But either way, we've got ourselves P3. It's another podium. Valtteri Bottas wins. He seems to be on a really hot form, a hot streak of form at the moment. I'm not entirely sure where it's come from, or whether it's just coded into the game, but it's a bit mad. Yeah, I'm a bit confused as to his form, but he still won the Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton's come second. Mercedes just further dominating the Formula One world. I imagine they'll be very high up in the constructors now. But let's have a look at the drivers' standings and let's see where our teammate came as well. Our teammate came 14th. Mick Schumacher comes 14th. That's not a bad result for us at all. I think that must be because of his Mercedes engine. And he's just behind Max Verstappen actually, who finishes P6, which is a terrible result for him. Where did... And Alexander Albon's finished P19. Terrible race for the Red Bull cars. Let's have a look at the standings. We're now 12 points behind Valtteri Bottas, and a further 15 points ahead of Lewis Hamilton, which is definitely not too bad at all. Red Bull Racing are overtaken by us, actually. So we are currently third in the constructors' standings. Racing Point have overtaken McLaren and Kevin themselves a rather decent lead there. The Renaults, even though they got a good result today, they're still P7, but they are catching up to that McLaren team. The AlphaTauris are still on 6 points. They're not doing very well this season. We're thereabouts on the R&D graph with AlphaTauri, but we are quite clearly much quicker than they are, especially around a track like this where we've got the Mercedes engine. But anyway, guys, that is going to be it for the race. I guess I'll see you guys for the interview.
Great workout there today. Let's have your thoughts. We all underestimated you, didn't we?
Yes, sir. That's a misdemeanor. The teammate, we're in sync. Great things can happen.
This team are performing as well as they could do.
The hard workers always improving and learning from their mistakes.
Do you think you were lucky not to end your race with that crash?
What crash? What do we want to take the hit on here, though? No comment.
Appreciate your time.
No worries, mate. Yeah, I don't fancy taking an L there, so we've just said no comment because I'm not losing any morale on my stuff. But anyway, we smack Alexander Albon again. We're now up to 25 and 12. We should be able to beat him in the next race, I believe, which would be very interesting. Obviously, we're up to team acclaim at level 10, which is brilliant. Schumacher goes up to acclaim level 6, finally. He's finally gone up a level in our career mode. We stay at level 8. Moving forward, you can see we've got 597,000 from our sponsors, which is very tasty indeed. But you know what's even tastier? The fact that we can get a third secondary sponsor. I'm very excited for that to happen. I'll see you guys there. Right, guys, so we are back in the headquarters. We've got some resource points, we've got some money. We're team acclaim level 10. We're going to quickly skip through here. We do need to put in an activity, which I have actually missed. That's my bad. We're going to put in the podium celebration party. It gives us some extra bits and pieces. We're going to quickly sim that through. We've got the spark plugs in R&D investment thing, which means only one thing. surely. The major engine power upgrade. It will mean that we don't necessarily have to do another engine upgrade for probably the duration of this season. Because that's going to put us up with the likes of Haas and Mercedes, who have got the fastest, well, the fastest engines in this save. It would be ready for the British Grand Prix, which is perfect because the Canadian and Austrian Grand Prix aren't power heavy circuits, so at least we've got it for the British Grand Prix, if anything. So we're going to develop that. Hopefully that comes through straight away. If it does break, I will not be best pleased. And then we go into facilities, and we are gonna increase the build time for the powertrain because we can't be having that. When will that now be done for? It will now be ready. It's still going to be ready for the British Grand Prix, but it's a little bit less time. And if we look at these upgrades here, August and September and October we will be getting new bits and pieces for our powertrain. So that's all good news. But I think that is going to leave it here for this episode of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in this F1 2020 My Team series. Next time out, we're at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada, Montreal. I can't wait for that race. Honestly, it's one of my favourite races on the calendar. It's just such a good race. There's not a single bad thing about that track. We do also need to quickly pick our next sponsor. I don't think it can be these guys, as a team complete 100 laps in a race weekend. I mean, it could be possible, but obviously we'd have to do 50 laps each, and we only do a certain number anyway. Qualified P4 or better, I don't know. Choose the fastest lap in any session. I think we might have to take that. And then just get fastest laps in practice 1. So that's in any session. So is that one. That makes no sense. Why would that be so much cheaper? Oh well. We're going to take this one anyway, so we're going to go with sudo. And then we will quickly go over to customization and we will add that to our car. Now then, where should we put it? Put sudo on there. Okay, so this is the finished car. We've put sudo in a couple of places here and there. I think there is one just on the front of the car there, on the nose, and then we've got one just above the driver's head. And I think that will do it for that sponsor. It's not the best looking sponsor. I think DBS Optics is probably our best looking sponsor. Then obviously the TriStar is our primary sponsor. And then we've got Cassandra as well, which isn't the best looking one, but we've got to deal with it. That's going to be it anyway for this episode though, guys. The car livery is done. We're going to be at the Villeneuve circuit next time out. I hope you guys did enjoy. Leave a like if you did enjoy though, and subscribe if you're new around here. Turn that notification bell on to make sure that you don't miss a single episode of this My Team series, nor the co-op series we're doing with Morris Pace. Go check him out, link in description. But anyway, that's going to be it from JD Garley here today. I will see you guys in a bit. Goodbye.